everyone, you are welcome to class. This is Ethno Kiddies. Today we are going to be learning how to take different measurements for different dresses. So for instance, the measurement for a trouser is different from the measurement for a skirt. The measurement for a dress, which is also known as the gown, is different from the measurement for a skirt and a blouse. So now we're going to be taking all of those measurements today. So now let us take the measurement for a blouse. The first thing you're going to do is to tell your client to turn sideways, and then you take the measurement. You take the shoulder measurement. Take the measurement from one ball and socket to the other ball and socket. So for this mannequin now, it's 13. The next measurement we are going to take is the bust measurement. So for the bust measurement, you're going to ask your client. You're going to make sure your client is putting on a bra. You cannot take a measurement for anybody without the person putting on a bra. If not, it's going to spoil your entire work. So make sure the person you're taking the measurement for is putting on a bra. Then you measure the fullest part of the bust. Measure the fullest part of the bust like this, and make sure your hand, one of your finger is in between the tape roll, and you take the tape roll up and then bring it down to ensure that it's moving okay with ease, and there is enough allowance. Don't make it to be too tight. So you're going to put one of your finger in between the tape roll like this and move it up, and then bring it down as well. You take it up like this and you bring it down. Make sure you measure the fullest part of the bust. The next measurement we are going to take is the round under bust. You take the round under bust. You pass your tape and measure under the bust of your client. You measure round the under bust like this. That's the next measurement. The next measurement we are going to take is the bust point. So now you cannot tell where the nipple of your client is, but you can see the fullest part of the nipple. Or you can ask your client, excuse me, where the nipple is. So you take the measurement from the shoulder to where the nipple is. That is the bust point. The bust point is measured from the shoulder like this to the nipple. For this mannequin, the bust point of this mannequin is 10. So the next measurement we are going to take is the bust span, which is also known as the nipple to nipple. The bust span is the distance from one nipple to the other nipple. One nipple to the other nipple. For this mannequin now, the bust span is 6. The next measurement we are going to take is the half length. The half length is measured from the shoulder to 2 inches. From the shoulder to 2 inches above the belly button. So now this is the belly button of this mannequin. Now let's assume this is the belly button. So the half length for this mannequin is 18 inches. So you measure from the shoulder to the half length. From the shoulder to 2 inches above the belly button. That is the half length. The next measurement we are going to take is the upper waist, the upper hip measurement, which is the upper waist as well. You take your tape round the upper part of your client's waist. make sure that one of your finger is in as well. Can you see what I'm doing? Can you see? And you measure. I take the measurement. So the next measurement you are going to take for the blouse is the length. So now it depends on your client. You ask the client where the client wants how long the client wants the blouse to be. So you measure from the shoulder to wherever your client wants the blouse to stop. That is all for a blouse. So if you're taking the measurements for a dress now, you're going to take all the other measurements that we have just talked about: the shoulder, the bust. You also take the half length measurements, the nipple to nipple. But then it depends on the kind of dress you're making. If you're making a tube dress, that is when you need all this measurement, like the bust span, the nipple to nipple, and all of that. But if you're making a dress like what I'm wearing now, what I'm putting on, all you need is just the shoulder, the bust, the length, and then you take the hip measurement. The hip measurement is measured just like you have measured the bust as well. So you take your tape round the bust, round the hip, and then you make sure your tape is going around the bust. You move your tape up and pass it through your client's butt and bring it down a little. Make sure it's moving with ease. Can you see what I'm doing? You take it up like this and you bring it down, and then you measure it. Make sure your measurement is accurate. For this mannequin now, the hip measurement is 41 inches. So that is how you take measurements for the hip. So the next measurement we are going to take for a dress is the full length. So the full length now, it depends on where your client wants, on how long your client wants the dress to be. It might either be to the knee, which is 42. If your client wants it to be a knee length dress, you measure from the shoulder to the knee, which is 42. Or if it's above the knee, you measure from the shoulder above the knee, which is 38 or 37, or wherever your client wants it to be. But if it's a full length gown, you take the measurement from the shoulder to the ankle. You measure from the shoulder to the ankle. Which is 59 inches. Measure from the shoulder to the ankle. That's how to take the full length measurement. So if you're taking the measurement for a trouser or a skirt now, you ask your client, is it a high waist skirt the person wants, or if it's just a normal skirt? If it's a high waist skirt, you measure from the belly button, from the half length measurement, which is above the belly button. So you measure from there to, if it's a knee length skirt, you measure to the knee where your client wants it to be. That is the length of the skirt. And then you take the hip measurement, and then you take the waist measurement. If it's a high waist skirt, you take the upper waist measurement. If it's a trouser as well, you take the waist measurement and the hip measurement. But then you take the lap measurement. You measure the lap of your client. This is how to measure the lap of the client. So you take your tape round the lap, all over the butt like this. Round the butt, I mean. You take it round the butt of your client like this. This is how to measure the lap. Move it. Make sure you take the fullest part of the lap. And then you take the crotch depth. the crotch depth is measured from the belly button to this area, from the belly or from the waist. If it's not a high waist trouser, you measure from the waist to this area. That is how to take the crotch depth measurement. So the next measurement we are going to take is the sleeve measurement. So for the sleeve measurement, you measure from the shoulder to the wrist area, from the shoulder to the wrist, or wherever your client wants, how long the client wants the sleeve to be. Measure from the shoulder to the wrist. For this mannequin, it's 22. It's 22. Then you measure round the sleeve. Round the sleeve. For this mannequin now, when measuring the sleeve, the round sleeve measurement, you make sure one of your finger can pass through the tape rule like this, so that it will give room for ease allowance. Make sure you measure the fullest part of the person's arm, and then you also, if it's a long sleeve, and make sure you measure and make sure the client can move her hand or his or her hand like this. You measure it like this. Ask the person to put her hand like this, and then you take the measurement. Make sure the client can move her arm like this. And then the next measurement you're going to take is the wrist measurement. So protect it so that it will enable the hand to pass freely. So you ask your client to make a fist. To make a fist like this, then you measure round the fist. Take the measurement round the fist. For my own measurement now is 9. But you know that when you're drafting your pattern, you're going to add 1 inch for sewing allowance. So you are taking the length of the sleeve. I've taken round the sleeve. I've also taken the wrist measurement. Then you take, I've also taken the fist measurement. Then you take round the wrist, this area as well. So that will be all for measurements. Thank you very much for being in this class. Do have a wonderful day ahead. Bye.